Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Fiction Game. I'm your host, as always, Jack, and with me today are our usual players, Sam, Hayden, Tom, and Miles. We're back this week. The last session that we had was a pickup game while Tom was gone. That's up on the channel. Check it out, Convergence. But this week we are back to the Axis of Instinct, the second campaign in our Otherworlds setting, continuing the story of William, Grayson, Alberth, and Merigold, as they set forth into a world of adventure and magic and intrigue. Now, we had already recorded session 5, our fifth session of this campaign, before we recorded that pickup game, but unfortunately there were some technical issues with the recording, and you could only hear my voice, and that's not a great episode. So instead of putting that together and doing a dub where I do impressions of all of my players and try and guess at what they said during the campaign, I decided to make the sane decision of instead making just a quick recap. So we're just gonna real quick go by a bullet point recap of what happened last session in the episode that was lost to history. It'll be a good review for myself and my players, as well as you, the audience. So let's get started. As we began, as the party was headed out for this sort of the second part of this sort of two-part heist. They had already gotten the first part of the first half of a druidic artifact from some charming new friends, and were on their way to what was likely to be a much more violent confrontation with the Emerald Bandits. On the way to this second part of this heist, Elway, our party witch, not part of the, not actually played by a player, but a frequent friend of the party, Elway talked about enchanted items and labor value, and the idea that casters don't tend to make a lot of enchanted items because it removes the unique power that a caster has. When they make magic that can be held by anyone, they're basically making themselves less valuable to the people who need that magic. The party then ran into a shipwright by the name of Kroyik, who had a big caravan carrying logs way out west to the coast for a new fleet of ships. During this encounter, Merigold cast Compel Indiscretion on his party member, William. William said a bunch of stuff, mentioned that he wanted to get rid of blood magic, and the party learned a lot. Afterwards, Elway asked Merigold to please not cast any more secret revealing spells on members of the party, because that was going to start causing problems real fast. Later, as they discovered these bandits, or while they were searching for them, Merigold also rolled a critical 20 on perception, revealing not only the location of the bandits and tracking them down, but also showing that there was a hulking figure, a sort of barbarian type, also about to besiege the bandit camp. In addition to which, there were two mysterious hooded figures following the party itself. Merigold quickly revealed these pursuers to be Merigold's friend Fergus, a companion and another professor at the university, who was sent here to assassinate a mage who had been forcing people to reveal secrets. Fergus did not seem to realize that the mage he was hunting was his own friend Merigold. And he was sent running back into the woods. The second hooded figure was dear friend and until recently dearly departed friend Vizier Kama. Not Vizier at this point, as Pater Ullman has taken over the position of left hand of the Queen. But Kama was revealed to be one of these hooded figures following the party, and after loudly cussing out Merigold for always mucking everything up, she immediately alerted the bandit camp, and a battle pursued. Not a long battle. The barbarian, whose name was later revealed to be Hearn, attacked the bandits, and working together, everyone took out these Emerald Bandits. Hearn started to walk away with this half of a druidic artifact, but this led to another confrontation. Hearn had said that he was just a warrior, didn't possess any magical abilities, although notably he could sense other people's magic abilities. He pegged that Merigold was a mage and that William was part angel and also a blood mage, and he said that a member of the party was a druid, which was news to many members of the party. Long story short, he wanted to leave with the half artifact. This party wanted the artifact as well. A little bit of chaos ensued as Alberth attempted to cast Compel Affinity on this barbarian to try and make friends with him. Sensing a psychic attack, Hearn, who it turns out only has the facade of being a non-magical warrior type, Hearn, the secret mage, used an ability called Spell Choke to stop first Alberth and then immediately afterwards Merigold from trying to control his mind. In the end, an uneasy stalemate was reached by both parties. And William used Red Purpose to steal the half circlet by converting some of his sanguine mana to speed. Each side having shown a bevy of magical magical tools that were not revealed at the beginning of the encounter. They struck a deal using the bandit barrister who we met earlier to make a contract whereby Alberth bought the half artifact from Hearn. Let's see. During this conversation, everyone in the party found out that Alberth is a druid and a servitor, meaning that the party is finding out a lot of stuff about each other today, from Kama's being alive to what kind of magic Alberth has to William's intentions. Grayson, very lucky to have escaped this sort of crossfire of secret revealing unscathed. So, in the end, they assembled the druidic artifact and discovered that it had the wild boon known as Apomixis, which is the ability of certain plants that allows them to asexually reproduce. Alberth wasn't a fan of that because it doesn't really have a lot of direct applicability to his life or combat situations. And so in the end, they flipped the deal. Hearn the barbarian, which they now know to be a mage, left with the circlet and gave an amount of money that he would have expected to find from a fence to this party. And in the end, everyone left happy. Then Kama mentioned that vampires exist, and the session pretty much ended.
We also banked a future encounter where he will help us out on a quest.
That's true. There were a lot of stipulations about this contract, which makes it a pretty terrible episode to have lost to the sound design void. We will remember it as everyone remembers all verbal agreements, shakily and with great hesitancy,
and in my favor.
Constantly.
I thought originally he was and he had to help us, but then we flipped the deal at the end, so now we have to help him at some future date.
Yeah.
I remember that differently. It was in my favor.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That is correct.
I forgot about that.
An incredibly high-level mage can call upon your party if he needs you. I believe that the stipulations in the quest, let's say this while we're thinking about it so that this ends up on the record in a recorded format. I believe that the stipulation was it has to be a quest from the throne of Telmeri. You can't just call people up for any favor. So he can't be And then everyone left, especially Merigold, because Merigold is late for a very important meeting with his patron. Anyone have anything else to mention in that recap of what happened last time? It's been a while. I think we got all the important parts down. I think we got the bones of it. And if you think of anything later, feel free to bring it up. But now, we rejoin our party, almost our entire party, Alberth is there, Grayson is there, William is there, along with Elway and Lion, and now Vizier Kama. You can't help but think of as Vizier Kama. She really carries the title with her in her just personality and mannerisms. We join, in fact, all of the party except for Merigold at a restaurant called Wellwater, where they've been meaning to eat for some time. They sit around a large rectangular table, eager to talk about their newfound loot from this established sort of pseudo quest that they've just undergone, all of the money that they got from Hearn the Barbarian. And to discuss what's up with Kama, how she he came back to life, because only Alberth is privy to that information so far, and to cover next steps. However, there is a sort of hesitant silence because at this rectangular table, 3 sides are full of our various adventuring party members, and the 4th side is occupied with a stone stove that's sort of got fires running underneath it and places to place various pots and pans in a sort of cooking at the table, very almost hipsterish presentation at this restaurant, where of course your good friend and the guy you met in the woods one time, Tomas, is preparing an exquisite meal for the 6 of you. Wellwater is in a better part of town than the sort of merchant square adjacent area and like poverty zone adjacent area where Alberth's workshop resides. It's in the nicer, more noble part of town, and indeed the clientele at this restaurant look, for the most part, extremely well off. Tomas, as soon as you guys came through the door, said, "Oh, let's get these people a table," and explained to his fellow chefs who were running the adjacent tables how you had saved him from a demon, and in fact he didn't really believe that that's why you were chasing him out of the woods until about an hour later a screeching eldritch noise echoed through the woods, and he realized, oh, it's a good thing. It's a good thing they had me leave, because that could have gone poorly. Now food and drinks are on the house, and he serves everything up. First, he right now in a large sort of wok-like travel pan that he's keeping on one of these burners. He's preparing a rice dish that every time it looks just about ready, he adds another ladle of broth, and it just keeps absorbing more and more until it gets to this creamy soup-like texture. Alberth, now being technically nobility, might recognize this as a nicer food that not a lot of people, not a lot of peasants would know how to recognize, but Alberth might recognize this as a creamy risotto. But yeah, the rice is seasoned with a number of spices. He's turning it almost orange. He's cooking fresh flatbreads in an oven that looks sort of like a jug with charcoal on the bottom, and he's sort of slapped this dough to the side of the jug to cook there. He quickly becomes deeply involved in this cooking process, at which point Kama looks around and seems to decide, like, yeah, he's in his own zone. He's not going to hear us. We can talk. And Vizier Kama looks at the rest of the party and says, "So you're probably wondering how I'm alive." And Elway goes, "Yeah, that's a good one to start with. Is everyone in agreement? I think we should start with that one."
Do I have reason to believe you'd be dead in the first place?
No, I guess we haven't met. Hi, 3 of you who I haven't met.
In another life, I'm worried about you. All right.
She says, "Right. So I'm Kama. I used to be the left hand of the queen. I was traveling with Alberth here and Elway, and died. So, yeah. Now that I think about it, Alberth here, I've already told." And Elway goes, "What?" And she goes, "And you 3, I caught your names earlier. William, Grayson, and some kind of animal." And Lion says, "Lion." "Yeah." And Kama says, "Right. we haven't met, but hi, I'm Kama. I died about 3 months ago. I came back a little more recently than that, because of a witch. Fair enough. And Elway goes, no, what? I'm a witch. What do you mean? Like, what? What? And Zirkama explains basically the same thing that we've already heard on the show, as she explained it to Alberth. That she made a deal with a very powerful witch to sort of tether her soul to this world, and it doesn't necessarily bring her back from death so much as it keeps her soul closer to her body, and makes it take longer for her to pass over, and more recoverable in that stage. She doesn't really explain a lot of the details, and you get the feeling that she doesn't really know all of the details. It's just part of an ongoing deal with this witch. After a long explanation, and as this risotto is finally cooked up to like a creamy consistency and is being served in bowls all around, cups filled up with various exotic tropical juices, Kama kind of leans back and looks around, says, yeah, I guess you all needed to know that. But I'm feeling a little over explained here. A little like I've shared way more secrets with the table than feels appropriate. And Merigold isn't even here, so I don't know why. Someone else say something, because I'm uncomfortable. So Alberth, you're a druid, huh? And also another one? What did you call it? What was the other one?
Servitor.
Sweet.
Kind of like a little bit of what William's got going on. But just a little.
Right, because your power's from an angel, and your power is because you're kind of like a part angel, right? Is that Lycian, if you prefer? Do you have a preferred terminology on that?
Yeah, look, it's not really me that you need to be worried about there. I'm okay with being called Lycian, yes.
Right on. Yeah, this feels like a good cards on the table moment, does it not? Should we all go around and say stuff that we haven't talked about? I mean, again, I realize I've just met several of you, but basically what I'm saying is now you know way too many of my secrets, and I need to know what's going on with you. So, cards on the table, please.
Just to clarify, in a world where your magical value is directly linked to your ability to hold secrets, is it actually the best idea?
I mean, that's only for mages. Unless one of you is a mage, which would be a huge other secret that we should talk about immediately.
Sorry, I have to go to the restroom, but just carry on. Go under the impression that Grayson is on lockdown at this point, there's so many secrets are being revealed. He's putting his walls up, so he will not be sharing anything voluntarily. I'll be back.
Grayson also gets up to go to the bathroom.
Yes, actually, that's a great idea.
I'll
be back, Grayson says.
Extremely clever. Hayden, I'm giving you a luck point. I can't remember if we're doing those for this campaign.
How did I get that?
But there you go.
Well, I'm gonna say as I clasp my hands together as they see them leaving. I guess that leaves me. 20 questions. 20 questions.
Oh, we should ask. And Elway goes, "Sweet, I've got questions. Why don't you have a halo? What's up with that?"
Oh, I do have a halo. I'm not gonna elaborate further. That's the point of 20 questions.
Is it smaller than your hair? Elway's really trying to puzzle this out. Does William have long hair?
Yeah, so it's gonna be like medieval curly. Imagine what a William would look like. That's what his hair looks like.
I'm imagining a Disney prince. Have you got luscious golden locks? Just kind of very bouncy.
No, tall, dark, and handsome, Jack. It's all about the black hair.
Okay.
But so first off, is my halo player to DM here? Is it directly wrapped, or do I have a bracelet ring?
So you have that brass circlet that stops your broken halo from being shown. And when that circlet is off, you can actually see your halo, and it does look like it's got like a crack through it, like it's divided.
So yeah, I'm gonna lift off circlet like it's a top hat. Be like,
This is a very like fancy restaurant. Not a lot of people are there at a time, but everyone.
If it's like crowded. Okay. Before I give reactions here, if it's massively crowded, it's just not like we're in the corner of a room like hanging out. I'm going to just like tap at the circlet and be like, I have something that helps keep me a little bit more low key.
Right on. Yeah. You've got the long hair. It actually covers up. It's not like an unbroken band. It comes around to like a point. So you actually have to like lift it out of your hair a little bit because it is disguised in there. Like people can't tell you're wearing a circlet unless you show them. Yeah.
Even better.
But you gesture to that and she goes, right on. Right on. That's cool. I wonder if is that why? Because that Hearn guy, he could tell what a bunch of people were. I think he could still tell you were part angel, but I think I could also tell that without you having the halo. You know, you're crazy.
A significant amount of time.
You got the golden irises around. Yeah, it's like
it takes anybody who has even slight amount of experience with Elysian and maybe all of 20 minutes near me to kind of put the pieces together.
For sure. If we hadn't traveled, we have an angel friend. We've got an angel friend. Anyways, if we hadn't traveled extensively with an angel friend,
Elysian,
it's
cool.
Yeah. Wait, why did you say it like that? Is it?
No, it wasn't. Nothing. Wait a minute. But anyways, and talking to Hearn, I'm going to reference that again, and So Hearn pointed out like 3 or 4 people specifically being like types of magic. Can I ask if anybody here knows? Obviously, he was a mage, but why was he? Do we have any idea why he's so strong? Why he's so good at what he does?
Comma says, I actually remember after he brought up that we had met before, that he's like run quests for the queen. That's when I remembered him, and that's why I remembered the thing about the vampires. But he's been in the business for a really long time. I don't know like what specifically he's learned that's made him a super powerful mage, but he's been in it for like a while now. I know some of the stuff that he's done for the kingdom, but I don't really know like how he got super powerful. I mean, I'd guess it's just how any caster gets powerful. He just really impressed his patron, or like kept running enough errands for him or something, and just eventually got super powerful. Unexpected that he also got super jacked. I honestly, extra credit, because that was not. He's got magic powers, you know. I know why I'm jacked. I don't have any magical powers.
Oh my god. Okay.
Good stuff from you, William. Thank you for sharing secrets. Now I feel like we're a party, and I don't have to find ways to track who each of you has contact with, so I know who knows I'm alive. You know? Everyone's given a weird face in response to that. Is that not? I've worked in espionage for too long. It's been. She says, thank you, William. Anyone else? Secrets? Looking around, Grayson has just gotten back to the table. He's locked down pretty tight. Lyons is glowering, and she hasn't even taken off like her armor or her helmet. Like, she has her faceplate up, but she is in full garb sitting at this restaurant.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely.
Like, is she the one in full armor too?
Yep. Yeah, she's in full plate. She's been in
I'm
full
gonna ask
plate
about that.
every time you've ever met her. Yeah.
Like,
what
hey,
do you ask?
What's going on? what's up with the armor, by the way? Decent restaurant, surrounded by friends. Do you have like a story behind this? Not trying to poke or prod, but I'm also poking and prodding. So
Surrounded by friends. Oh, sorry. She is from Venel. I just went into Kama's voice for Lion. No, she says surrounded by friends. Is one way to phrase it. I'm surrounded by people who I've met in the last few days, say for Elway. And as for me still wearing armor, it's a fair question. But what do you think would happen if you put on a whole set of armor except for one chunk right around here? Wouldn't be that useful as armor, would it? So, that's what it's like to wear armor most of the time, but take it off at a meal when most assassination attempts take place. It's not really that I'm... It's not really that I think anyone here is going to try to kill me. But
that feels like a skewed statistic with poison. But
sure. I suppose that's true. I'm using it as a general. I don't think I'm being hunted by any particular assassins. I just think armor isn't helpful if you're not wearing it. And I've got it, so I'm wearing it. Is it inconvenient?
Do you wash it often?
Sure, massively, constantly. Yeah. What? Wash it? Of course I wash it often, but
you got a second pair of armor to wear while you're washing it?
No.
Interesting.
Says, look, I hear your voice is dripping with implication. I hear what you're saying, that there have to be some times when you wear armor and other times when you're not wearing armor, and if bathing or cleaning my armor is one of those times, why can't eating be one of those times? I'm just not as comfortable in the city as you all seem to be. I'm surrounded by people I don't know. If I were in nature, in a stream, sure, I'd wash my armor. But there are so many people who could get to me in half a breath from here. And I'm not used to that, because I'm not really from a city. So it is probably an overabundance of caution, but I can't afford to let my guard down in such an incredibly packed place. Hearing this, William can relate to it, especially with the extra sort of emotional intelligence granted by that awareness of grace that is intrinsic to William's being. He also, I think, don't let me tell you how your character feels, but does not relate, because William goes from city to city making friends with urchins. I get the feeling that William is most at ease in a crowd of people that he doesn't know.
Exactly, yeah. I would definitely say so.
Yeah. Right on. But yeah, having explained all of this, and is clearly getting like nervous as the focus shifts to her, Lion is like sweating a little bit and is like, yeah. Yeah, but she kind of looks around and like nudges Elway, which, because of Lion's incredible strength and stature, like tips Elway's whole stool to the side, and Elway goes, yeah, so secrets, you guys want to know about the arson that I did that I was supposed to be in trouble for when you all met me? Yeah, so it was just to help some slaves escape. And then she kind of looks around like that was a big buildup, and then not a lot of. She goes, I mean, I kind of felt like it gave me an air of mystery before that I was like in trouble for something, and then I mysteriously got away from it, and then I met back up with you guys, and he's like, whoa, wasn't she gonna answer for her crimes? That mean paladin lady was really confident that she was gonna pay for her crimes, and I was like, haha, no chains can hold me. But now I feel like now that I've said it out loud, it does feel like, oh, you're probably now wondering why I didn't get in trouble for it. Because she did take me to face the people who burned it down. Well, there was a revolt. And so the people who owned the property that was burnt now not the slave owner who owned the property originally. And the new people were like, right on, thanks for helping those slaves escape. So it was a win-win, except for the guy who owned slaves, which is as close to a win-win as you get. And honestly, I consider it a win-win. Win, because I'm not the guy who owned the slaves.
I'm also going to call that a win-win-win. That's top-notch work, actually.
Thanks, man. Yeah. I'm glad that's something all casters can agree on now. Because like even the inheritors, I mean, they're the most like law and order types, you know. But they've recently declared one of their crusades to be the crusade against shackles. That's like no slave ownership. So I think that's pretty cool.
Wow,
Anyways,
what is it that you're infinitely old? I'm surprised it's taking this long.
What? What is the
I don't
year?
know how.
Infinitely?
I don't know what the year is, so I was trying to make a play on just before time, I guess.
Yeah. In the modern era, how could it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Elway goes, well, it's more complicated than that. You see, serfdom and slavery are intrinsically, and then everyone's eyes kind of just glaze over.
Hey, I hate to butt in, Elway, but I do have a question about, do you not have any idea about the witch power to like keep people alive?
No, never heard of that. I mean, I know that the relationship between life and death is super different in the Nightlands and is more reversible than it is here in the mortal plane. And I've heard a lot of people say that that's why they are witches, or why they want to be. The whole point, the whole like idea behind witches as casters is everyone's got like something that they're fighting for or against, or that they kind of represent, right? And with druids, it's like the natural order, and that's why everyone's separated in like predator, prey, or symbiote, or parasite. Like it follows the natural the natural order of how things of like evolution and that kind of thing. And I feel like I'm doing a bad job explaining this. I don't know. The whole point.
Like
yeah. The whole point of being a witch is to disrupt unjust systems, and most of us spend a lot of our time undoing unjust systems created by mortals, like created by humans and inflicted on other humans. That's a lot of the injustices we undo. But some witches set their sights higher on systems that they perceive as being naturally unjust, like the permanence of mortality. And so a lot of people, I'm like I try to take it from my scope outwards, you know. If I see injustice that I can do something about, that's where I thrive. And some people set their sights on stuff that I feel like my instinct is that they are uninterruptible systems, like the permanence of death being a source of injustice. I guess so, in like a distant, like hard to define way. I'd love it if that wasn't true. That would be pretty sweet. But I don't, it's not as concrete to me as freeing slaves. You know what I mean? It's not as concrete to me as like freeing people from the material circumstances that bind them to systems of injustice. Don't know how I say
quite
that.
a next step.
Yeah.
By death.
Yeah, but I guess maybe if I was a powerful enough witch, I would look at death and be like, I can do something about that, baby. So I get it. I think I get it.
Cool.
Kama looks around. You can see that this has become like a freewheeling conversation where people are saying stuff about themselves and kind of like learning one another's perspectives on these kind of things. But you can see the cold calculus behind Kama's eyes, thinking about everyone. Have you revealed enough for this to be a mutual secret? Have you revealed enough for this to be a mutual secret? And she is now just glancing back and forth between Grayson and Lion, waiting for one of them to say something.
Who's gonna crack first?
And eventually Kama
This is
says,
a very. Oh, sorry. This is just like a mirror of a previous conversation we've had. But anyways, where we're just waiting for Lion or Grayson to crack on the conversation.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah. So yeah, having glanced back and forth for a while, and the conversation kind of starts and stops as people like add little things of just like Elway talking about labor value or whatever, and eventually Kama goes, okay, let's get down to what it is. Let's get down. Lion and Grayson, I'm gonna need each of you to say something about yourself, or this is going to start to feel actually dangerously asymmetrical in terms of I don't know if you're familiar with the term information asymmetry, but I've spent a lot of my life in espionage now, and it is getting to the point where the information asymmetry is weaponizable, and I don't like it when everyone has weapons at the table. You feel me?
all right,
Or
fine.
armor.
I'll say something. Haha, good one.
Elway goes, A, and Lion like nudges her like, don't take this.
Fine, comma. I'll say things. Unfortunately, there's not much to say. I'm good with a bow and I can handle a sword. And beyond that, there's not really all that much to tell. But since we're in the business of sharing secrets, I am not a fan of demons, and I'll leave it at that.
And Kama, far from backing off, feels like she is like detected a weak spot. Like you've now dropped one thing, and she leans in, hands templed. She says, "Tell me about that. Talk about that. Why don't? I mean, no one likes demons. Why would you bring up that you don't like demons? Did something happen with a demon? Tell me about your past, Grayson."
Oh, well, we just ran into a demon like 1 week ago, I think, and it was terrifying. I just figured that was a relatable experience for everyone here. Is that not something we're all still hung up on?
No, I'm pretty good.
Wow. Okay. Apparently, everyone has led far more colorful lives than I have.
Kama goes, "Yeah, I heard about that. Alberth, we were talking about demons, or that demon hunt the other night." And Elway, the other night? What do you mean the other night? And Kama goes, I told Alberth that I was alive like last night. Was that last night? That seems so fast.
Yes, so yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you showed up in the middle of it, she says to Elway,
Yeah,
and Elway
yeah.
goes, "Oh, you had you said
Yeah.
you..." Gotcha.
You assumed it was romantic. Nope, it was my pseudo boss here that came back to life.
There is a heavy pause at the table. And actually, Lion turns to you and goes, "Oh, do you want to talk about that, Albert? You want to elaborate on that? That was kind of rough. I mean, I'm new here, but
It doesn't mean I couldn't have romantic interests. Just that I don't with Miss Kama here.
Lion immediately turns to Kama and goes, Your thoughts on that?" And Kama goes, "You're deflecting. We're coming to you next." And Lion sulks in her chair. Tomas, in the middle of all of this, sweating profusely as he like dips into all of these, pulls out 6 teardrop shaped like flatbreads out of these like clay pot ovens, and slaps them next to each of your like bowls of steaming risotto, which and begins like the second course, and is like forming meatballs out of ground lamb and beef while all of this is happening. But Kama goes,
Remind me quick, did Tomas like end up becoming a blood mage, or like have any of that? Like, because I imagine even the smell is like really nice. Would he be like getting power from that if he
Oh.
were a blood mage?
You recommended that he check out the Red Temple and also try to find, because he was in the woods, which could only like attract a wild folk patron. So you told him
Yeah.
like one of the eloquent might be more interested, which would make him a sorcerer, or like the people at the Red Temple might be able to help you find a Razorkin patron if you want to be a blood mage. He hasn't followed up about it. This is the first time you've seen him since that event, and he just sat you right down and started feeding you. So yeah, if you want to ask him, then he's right here actively cooking.
I'll wait until our conversation is
Yeah.
died down for that. But
And yeah, Kama having briefly chastised Lion, turns back to Grayson, and she says, "Now, Albert said you're a pretty good shot, that you hit the demon right in one of its eyes. Is that right?"
Yeah. Like I said, I'm good with a bow.
Wow, did it deal any damage?
Great. I'm gonna look around at the table and say, I think so, right? From what I can remember, yeah.
Cool, right on. Are you an inheritor, or did you use a silver-tipped arrow? Because that's the only two explanations for that.
Are we sure? That because it did, and I don't tip my arrows in silver,
Really?
and I am not an inheritor. Lucky shot.
You
And I'm also abjectly lying. So for this entire conversation, a silver tongue applies.
yeah, that is
Oh,
That-
that's how we heard it.
that is a
Silver
good note.
tongue.
Yeah. Yeah, and she narrows her eyes and says, "Okay. Show me the arrows in your quiver and I will stop questioning you for the entirety of this meal."
Oh, this sounds like a great deal. And then like, I'll pull an arrow out, and then like slowly I'll look around the table. It's okay if I draw this now, right? We're not okay. And like as I'm drawing it, I'll try and like drag the arrow along the side to hopefully knock the salt off the tip, and then yep, and then present the arrow.
That's good stuff. You kind of rattle it around. Kama narrows her eyes, but seems to shrug it off as just like your hand is shaking because you're nervous. And you show it, and it is a plain stone-tipped arrow. You might have one or two like actual silver-tipped arrows, like in a corner of your quiver, but it's probably not all of them. And Kama like grabs it and looks at the tip, and runs the back of a fingernail across the metal, like she's testing something about it, and says, "All right," and hands the arrow back to you. Well done. You have avoided you have avoided scrutiny from Kama for now. And she turns her icy stare to Lion. And Lion stares flatly right back at her. And there is an incredibly awkward 30, maybe 40 seconds, unless anyone interrupts it, of just like smoldering intensity. And Lion goes, "Well, it was great to meet you all," and stands up to leave.
Let's go.
And Obi goes, "Wait." I mean, mostly because it makes me uncomfortable, but could you stay? And Lion looks at Kama and raises an eyebrow, and Kama, still like studious. You can see once again the gears working behind Kama's eyes. Like, is this a bargaining tactic? Is she just threatening to leave? Like, is she bluffing? And then she'll and Kama goes, "You won't tell me anything about yourself because you would rather leave without your share of the loot than tell me the barest fact about yourself." And Lion looks back and says nothing in response. And Kama goes, "That actually makes me the least worried about you ever. Because you know that I can find something on you. Like, I'm a trained expert in espionage. You know that I can if you tell anyone I'm alive. So I actually feel more confident about you than Merigold, who I didn't even get to bring here and interrogate, because he's off getting his ass whooped by some elder mage or something. So, all right. I feel very comfortable at this table. And she goes to eating her risotto, which has so far been untouched, and no one else is more comfortable. It feels that a great deal of social comfort has been sacrificed for this for this level of information symmetry. But eventually, Tomas finishes the very aromatic second course, which is skewers of these sort of lamb and beef balls, and then like big chunks of fresh vegetables stuck point first into this big like clay jug oven, so that the juices from the meat and like the fresh vegetables all kind of char and sear into one another very nicely. And he eventually gives everyone just one enormous skewer of these big meatballs and like chunks of pepper and onion, and before he gives them out, he like seasons them all with like some kind of chimichurri that's made from like garlic and like basil and turmeric and all of this stuff, and it smells just amazing, just insanely good by the time he hands all these skewers around and begins preparing the third and final course, some kind of dessert made of like nuts ground into a fine powder and then cane sugar like wet, like moistened into a dough and then laid out really, really flat, and just layers and layers of this, like a baklava kind of dish. And he is working on all these intricate layers as you guys discuss. All right. Kama says, so we divide the loot 7 ways. 6 of us and Merigold. I mean, we're not gonna short Merigold just because he's not here. I will give I'm gonna give it to Alberth. Alberth, I'm gonna give you Merigold's share. You get it to him. You're the richest here, so I don't think he'll steal it. I'm kidding. You're his closest friend. That I know. You're his closest friend at the table. I don't know. I haven't talked to that dude in 3 months. What am I supposed to know about Merigold? And she begins to divvy up all these heavy gold coins. And she talks about going forward, I'm going to continue my investigation of Pater Ullman before I resurface and presumably become the left hand of the queen again as soon as she sees me. I think Merigold had something that he found out about Pater Ullman's like organization, so I'll probably talk to him. If you guys want to help me find this secret organization, I could have some work for you, but if you're doing your own thing and if you're sick of the sort of cloud of death that follows me around at all times, I get it.
A question for Jack.
Yep.
What is this secret organization? Do we know? This is Ullman the one that's the part of the Hand of the North, or am I thinking of someone else?
The mayor is part of the Hand of the North, not Ullman.
Okay.
Ullman is a part of a group of clergy that have been tracking the movements of someone or a group of people called the Fox and another person or group called the Wolf. It might be code name, but they're tracking their movements and they're coming here, and they have connections to the group that recently performed a coup in nearby Vuitton. Because like a minor noble house just took the throne of Vuitton with relatively little violence. Like it was an all espionage operation, which is crazy and unprecedented. To just not have a violent revolution that results in a passing of the crown. So yeah, as the second course is being finished up, Yasuka actually shows up, having received a message from Elway and Lion that they were meeting up there. Yasuka, also in full armor but not with a helmet on, goes and sits next to Lion, looks around, says, "So, how was your crime? How was the crime?" Actually, probably don't tell me. Well, maybe tell me. It's kind of a gray area. How was the crime? How did the crime go?
Actually, now that I think about it, we didn't do any of the crime. It was somebody else, and we paid that other person for the stolen goods. Right?
That's true, Kama says. Hi, Yasuka. And Yasuka goes, and Kama gives the Cliff Notes version of the whole witch thing, and Yasuka goes, oh, okay. Okay, go on. And Kama goes, yeah, so basically we just bought bandits for this. And the Yasuka goes, you got gold. You didn't leave to get gold. And Kama goes, well, someone bought it. And Yasuka goes, right. They bought the half of the artifact that you got from criminals, and you skipped the part where you're going to steal the other half from innocent, hardworking people. And everyone looks around at everyone else at the table, and In Sync goes, yeah, mm-hmm. And Yasuka goes, right. Okay. So, dinner? And Tomas looks around like, okay, I'll just get, and whips up like a quick version of the other courses and just serves them out to Yasuka as he's preparing this last. Tomas has like 3 under chefs that are coming by and like chopping vegetables to help him, or like running things back and forth from the main kitchen to out here and that kind of thing. This dude is in his element, which is worth noting because he was so kind of alone and feeble and laughable the last time you met. It's worth noting that this dude is the consummate professional, and he is like really good at his job, and it really might be worth him looking into like being a blood mage or a sorcerer or something, because he's got the natural talent. But yeah, this dessert eventually comes out, and Kama goes, right on. So you're all preparing for the upcoming demon fight as well. So it's going to be 7 of you, and also the cavalry that Yasuka is bringing in. I will... Yeah. Reach out to me if you guys want some work while I'm working this espionage thing. Yeah. Or if you need any help fighting a demon. Actually, don't do that. I don't want to fight a demon. You guys remember last time. That was terrible. Yeah, and aside from that, you guys just have a very pleasant dinner at the Wellwater. Yeah, anything else you guys think you would bring up at this group meeting, at this communal dinner?
Can I ask if anybody's actually like seen a who's the people that are in charge of blood magic?
Blood
the
mage?
demons, basically.
Razorkin.
Oh, Razorkin. Yeah.
Yeah, the Razorkin. I'm gonna ask if anybody's like actually ever. Has anybody ever like met any?
You gotta no. And Vizier Kama goes, sure, yeah.
So real quick, have I already told trying to end blood magic as an idea?
You've told the
Came out to the
party,
group
and
at some
Kama
point.
was following you for a while, but you're not sure exactly how long. So she may or may not know.
So I'm trying to make a couple of moves on the Razorkin, and I was wondering if you had any idea on whether or not they had a hierarchy.
Kama thinks about it, and she says, they're honestly more social than hierarchical. That they have like networks of who they know, and I'm not crazy familiar with all of it, but I don't think they have like a military like hierarchy. You would have to go to like those of the Sun for that. And Yasuka goes, yeah. As she's eating this risotto, but it looks like a well-worn complaint of Yasuka's the very militant hierarchical nature of those of the Sun. And Kama goes, but they're not all like stark lone wolf renegade types like the wraiths. And Elway goes, Yeah, as she's eating her thing. But Kama goes, yeah, as for making a move against them, ooh, hard to know where to start with that one, bud. Yeah, it'd be kind of like making a move against the mountains. It's like, yeah, you could, if you had like explosives or something, you could go to the top and start to get one kind of sanded down. I don't really know the feasibility on a large scale of beating them or like reducing their impact on geography. Is this a bad example?
I actually think that the analogy is quite sound, and humans have dominated all sorts of nature before. I think that this is just fine in my book.
Yeah, she says, and theoretically, there are limited ways in which the worlds can interact, right? She seems to be thinking about this kind of thing for the first time and just like going with it as she thinks about it. She says like, if you again, I don't know that you could do something that's like, and now all of the Razorkin are dead or defeated or something. In addition to which, that would be a genocide and pretty not cool. But if you like, you're opposed to the practice of blood magic,
Common
right?
theme.
And if you,
I swear this does not reflect on me. Wait a minute.
This episode's gonna have to have a disclaimer, like the opinions expressed by William are in no way indicative of Miles, an actor playing William. Miles does not desire genocide.
Or Keath.
But Kama's thinking about it, and she says, "Yeah. So, as for like defeating the Razorkin in some permanent way, I can't see it happening. But defeating their hold on the world." Like by making it so that it's harder for them to make like empower new blood mages, or harder for them to cross into the world, or harder for us to cross into theirs. For most of the 8 worlds, I know of like locations that make crossover easier, like where a wild folk might come into the natural world, or where someone from the physical world might enter the Kuningdom.
Are the 8 worlds a physical space?
Kind of, yeah. Do we?
Are the roads between them physical?
There are locations that make it easier to move between. In fact, I think there are locations that make it possible to move between.
My question is, like that is an obvious place where I'm going to be wanting to go towards. Like, don't take me the wrong way. We're talking about that in a second. My question is, the spots that make them possible, is that because that is where 2 worlds are slightly overlapping, and thus a space where one being can exist in both and transition over? Or is that a space where a natural tunnel, like a slide, ends? Closing a door that opens both ways is difficult, but finding a one-way road, it might offer different challenges.
Yeah. Let me phrase it this way. And this is, again, and she kind of glances around the table, more secrets than I was planning on talking about, but hell, I'm not a mage. What am I going to do with them? And so she says, so yeah, moving between the worlds isn't really like crossing through a threshold, like a doorway, or even like teleportation. Your mind or consciousness or something ethereal and non-physical about you moves between worlds, not you. So just like we have a good friend that I don't know if you've met, but his name is Abelka Ashad, and he exists in his own world as 10 to 12 rings. It's unclear. He exists in our world physically now, but it's not that those 10 rings actually teleported. he's inhabiting a body for the time that he's here. We would have to do the same if we were to go to any other world. So it would be more like taking our mind and putting it in a different body, like loaning it to that body that exists in that world, and our physical bodies would just sleep. I've heard. He kind of looks around. No, I haven't heard. I've been.
So if a body was placed, like a body that was ready to accept another worlder was placed into that physical location, that would offer not only the doorway to get to this world, but also the only cup that they could fill, basically. And without one, they would run off, basically.
Yeah. Honestly, it's super confusing, but I think you're on the right track. From what you just said, that sounds like my understanding of what's going on.
Yeah, so if I was to go to the Razorkin's world, I would basically possess a Razorkin's body with my mind.
I don't think it wouldn't be one of the Razorkin. It would be a body created for you. It would probably be very humanoid.
Unlike 10 Rings.
It would not be 10 rings. And I've seen the bodies
So what I'm asking is, why is it 10 rings on that side and humanoid body on this side? Would I not want to be a native body in their dimension? In their world, I suppose?
Oh no, it would be a native body that exists in their reality instead of our physical reality. It just wouldn't be one of the Razorkin. Just like when our friend Abelkajad comes here, he's in a body that's designed to kind of look like us, but it's way better than ours. It's so cool. I mean, I'm telling you, you're like part Lycian, so you've got like a little bit of that. As for the origin of it, like how the original inhabitants of the 8 world, or the 6 that existed before the physical world, as for how they first crossed over without it being a teleportation thing, like how they could have created bodies, or someone else would have created bodies for them to inhabit, hell if I know. That's deep lore. That's too far for me. And as for Razorkin, I've never seen a Razorkin in the Maw, like their home world. They're one of the 8 worlds. I've seen the bodies that they inhabit when they come here. Hugely terrifying. They were clearly not meant for diplomacy. It's worth noting. They did not come here to make friends, or if they did, they didn't know how to do it. But I don't know what they look like in their world. I mean, technically, I don't even know that they look like anything, because the senses are the ways that we perceive the physical world, and they're only really simulated in other worlds. But I'm getting a little bit theoretical with it at this point, and that doesn't seem helpful. Basically, the Razorkin are big. They have like scythe arms. It's crazy, like kind of like a grasshopper, but made of metal. They look like machines.
Can I be taking notes to like this whole conversation
for
on a little napkin? This is probably the only thing William is extremely studious to find more out.
Yeah, for sure. Metal grasshoppers, apparently. And she describes some of the like what she remembers of like what they look like, and you start jotting down.
Any like metal specifically that they look like?
Oh, I don't think so. It's just kind of flat metallic look. I never like broke off a piece of one. I mean, I never even fought one.
Silver, I'm assuming? A silver grayish sheen?
Silvery. It looked like iron. I don't really know if it is iron. Although I think they have an affinity for iron. Although I think affinities are still questioned in cosmology.
It would make the most sense. Something to help, bolster their connection.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean affinity metal. So Bane metals are confirmed in cosmology, but affinity metals aren't. And she looks around at a lot of very confused looks and goes, we're getting into I mean, I guess just real quick, there's a type of metal that hurts different types of outsiders, and it's different for every kind of outsider. And I don't really know I kind of just know like 1 or 2 of them. I know silver for sure. That's the important one, I feel like. That's the one I'd like to know. If I were to know how to kill any one particular, I'd like it to be demons. But yeah, silver, kills deep. So there's bane medals for all of them. There might be affinity medals for some. It's still theoretical. It's not confirmed. Okay. Yeah.
All right, and I'm gonna reach out, shake hands. Hey, you really appreciate all you had to say about that.
Yeah,
I'm
of course.
pocket all my notes and go back to being charismatic, I guess.
Yeah. She looks around and says, "Yeah, while we're just putting all our cards on the table, I will be more closed off again soon as this meal is over. So if you guys have any questions about things that I know about cosmology and that kind of thing, yeah, what's up, Alberth?"
Not so much that. Were you, because you were hooded, and then Fergus, I think is his name, was hooded and both following us. Were you following us as a pair, or were you separate agents?
I don't know who
And
Fergus is. Yeah.
Okay.
I saw the other guy that Merigold sort of mind blasted. I didn't catch him before that. He must have been pretty quiet.
Oh. Okay. Just wanted to make sure you're not like also ill. Because I know you might want to sometimes. But I just want to make sure you're not trying to kill Merigold.
Yeah, no, not trying. Was the Fergus guy trying to kill Merigold? I mean,
I guess we don't know.
He did say something about killing someone. I don't know. I was screaming at Merigold at the time. I did not catch everything he said. Weird that you know him though. Super weird. Probably good. If you know the person who's trying to kill you, it makes it much easier to not be killed by them. Is what I've always found. I hope Merigold's doing that.
Yeah.
And we will cut from there.
Nice.
On over to a small nameless border town. A quick ride outside of the capital. It's outside of any like major city state like this. There's going to be dotted, not even like full towns or cities because they're basically at the capital. But as the population density goes down and you go out into all these workable fields, there tends to be these pockets, these collections of buildings that are less like their own towns and more like a small tavern, inn, restaurant, like bakery or blacksmith that is closer to you than having to ride all the way into the city. These sort of auxiliary places with optional buildings that are rarely frequented by outsiders who know that there's like a short distance to go before you to the actual city. So they tend to be pretty run down and only in use by the serfdom within the immediate vicinity. It is in one of these pretty crappy taverns that Merigold finds himself. Merigold had brought his rented horse to the outside of this little tavern, hopped off and walked inside, pleasantly surprised to find a much more polished and well-maintained interior than the exterior would suggest. There are no other horses there, and there are only two figures inside. A kind of short, stout barman with a thick but still fairly well-kept beard, who is just polishing glasses in that way that that tavern keepers do, as a cover for them to stare at people to see if they make trouble. just the glass is polished. It does not need 40 more repetitions of this this motion, but he eyes the door as Merigold enters and looks at the second figure. Merigold, your patron Arthias is a man that you have seen before. And just like all of the Ascended, the residents of the Königdom, he was once just a mortal human from this world that ascended, meaning he became a powerful enough mage to like enter the Königdom. He ascended and began to take on mage patrons. You're not sure exactly how long ago. He strikes an intimidating presence with extremely sharp cheekbones and like a really well-defined chin and no hair whatsoever, just completely bald, which is mostly disguised right now by a dark gray cloak that he has pulled up across. It kind of comes to a point like an Assassin's Creed cloak. He's got like a fake widow's peak right here, distracting from his completely shiny baldness. But he's not like an old kind of bald. He's like Hitman kind of bald, like Agent 47 kind of bald. Like you wouldn't be surprised to find a barcode tattoo across the back of his. You know what I'm talking about. His age is impossible to place. Just like all of the Ascended, he took on kind of different characteristics, different physical attributes after ascending. And most striking are his eyes, which are such a deep cobalt blue, they literally glow just a little bit. It would be hard for him to disguise himself in the capital. And that is why he conducts much of his business at sort of hubs like these, where the patron or the patrons, but not capital P patrons, the owners of these establishments know him and are paid by him. He has a network of these kind of locations to meet with mortals and to send messages between people and to manage his affairs on this in this world. His appearance and mannerisms are deeply proper, and he's the kind of person that you expect to have like a deep voice and probably because of his like flawless and almost very, very otherworldly appearance and how clean and like well kept he is, you almost expect him to have like a haughty sort of upper class accent and sort of you expect him to talk down to you at all times. But there's something curious about Arthias, and it's that his accent is equal parts an Othicid accent because he was actually born in Othica about 120 years ago. He ascended to the Cuningdom not that long ago. His accent is also deeply affected by the many years that he has been in said Cuningdom, where, remember, this is a world that was created by humans from the mortal world and then inhabited by them. And so they actually speak Common there. And they have a different dialect and the accents have evolved differently. And so Arthias ended up with just this very mishmashed accent that does not match what you expect when you see him at all. And so Merigold is not all that surprised when you walk in and Arthias, hands templed in his chair, goes, "Hey, Merigold, come on in, sit down."
I've got my psychic ward up for the record, but
right on.
I'm gonna act super happy to see him. Like, Arthias, good to see you, my friend.
He stands up and he does the clasp thing and like bring it into the chest. and he sits down. He says, I'm well. And yourself?"
Oh, I've been doing okay.
Right. So, and he kind of snaps, and the barkeep like brings up 2 flagons of already poured something, and he brings it over to the table. It smells like mead. He places them both down in front of you, actually. Arthias just stays leaned back on his side. You've never seen Arthias drink before, and based off of how it affects mage powers, you're not actually sure if he can drink. Like, but this is very clearly fully alcoholic mead that's just been set down in front of you. A spiced variety that smells vaguely of fresh pear.
Wary of this, Merigold is going to lie a little bit, and he's going to say, I really appreciate the gesture, but I'm really trying to lay off it, and I'm going to produce a token that I always keep on me, and I say, I just got my 6 weeks sober, and I'm really trying to keep it up.
Horrible.
You keep the token on you just in case.
Arthias goes, "Now I know okay, first of all, have this." And he reaches down and pulls out a small bag of jangling like metal tokens, like possibly coinage. And he just like puts it on the table in front of you. This is something that Arthias has done every time you've met before. He gives a gift every time he meets someone, and this actually isn't something that's unique to Arthias, and it's not a Cuningdom thing either. It is Othican tradition. In Othica, you are expected to give gifts upon first meeting someone, upon planned meeting someone, and upon unexpected meeting someone who you already know. They carry small gifts just at all times, and it's usually like really tiny flasks of like a beverage, or like very small amounts of money for like the merchant class. And for the peasantry, it's often like small things like buttons or very short lengths of thread, just very token gestures. In this case, it is literally tokens. As you open a small kind of cured leather pouch, inside are 8 tokens of different metals. One of them appears to be gold, but you're not sure if you recognize any of the others specifically. And having gotten the expected cultural pleasantries out of the way, Arthias says, "Now, I appreciate your instinct to lie to me immediately upon meeting me, but you do know that your powers are from the bond you have with me, and that's something that I can feel when it's no longer working, which is most of the time." Like, I know how often you drink. Now, there's a rare sickness called auto-brewery syndrome. You might have heard of it. It makes you get drunk without drinking anything. Your gut produces the bacteria, and they ferment or something. So, are you telling me that's what you have, or did you just lie to me? And you can say you just lied to me. I'm a mage. I'm not offended by that. You should be lying to me. At all times, you should be lying to everybody. It's the best. It's the best. That's it. It's the best.
Well, yeah, of course. Obviously, we know this. I am just a little bit concerned about why you're trying to intoxicate me for this particular meeting, and also as to the purpose for which you've called me here.
Right. I do need you to drink for a reason, but giving you that reason would give you information that you otherwise don't have that I have. That always comes at a price. So what will you give me for that information of why I need you to drink?
Okay, quick inventory. Based on my past dealings with him, is he interested in anything that I have? Besides the Demonsecret?
Information, probably, is the only thing you have. You probably don't have anything physically of interest to him, but he also, it's often very hard for other worlders to come to the world, so you could also offer him a favor of like an errand to go through in his you can
So I'm gonna go ahead and say, I could give you a juicy tidbit about a revolution being planned by the clergy of this kingdom. Would that be sufficient?
Absolutely. So it's a deal. And he shakes her hand, says, so the reason I need you to drink is because someone has been casting mage spells on you, my friend. They're spying through your eyes and ears right now via proxy spells. Are you familiar with proxy spells?
Well, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory in the name.
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory in the name. That's correct. But right now, everything that you're seeing and hearing, someone else is seeing and hearing through you. And they've got another spell placed on you that is proxy spell casting. So if you are within range of something, they're within range of it, which means I'm within range of it right now. I didn't detect that those spells were cast on you until you came in the door, but now I need you to drink because alcohol is the bane aura of my people, and it will prevent mage spells from being able to target you. So it'll wash away, which means someone must have been casting this on you with shocking regularity, considering how often you drink enough alcohol to clear that back out, you know?
Fergus.
Who's Fergus?
He's supposed to be my friend, but he recently maybe is trying to kill me. I'm still not super clear on the details.
Sure. It's a classic mage problem. Thought they were your friend, then they try to kill you. Happens all the time. My condolences.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, quick mental inventory. Is my awareness of secrecy pinging? Like, do I get the feeling that he's telling the truth about this proxy spell thing?
Your awareness of secrecy couldn't possibly come anywhere near this dude's insane psychic protections. You might be able to cast an Omega Mind Blasted compelling discretion on it, but you're also not sure how easy it is for him to like take your powers back away. You know that he can do it, but you're pretty sure there's a process. So hopefully he couldn't just be like, nope, you don't have that anymore if you used it on him. But either way, it would probably not be advisable for your long-term health to cast a spell on him right now. Yeah.
See, because that's okay. That was my little talk to the creatures on my shoulder moment. My plan in here was to come in like hostile interrogation to try to get something out of it, because I was thinking if the mind blast works on the demon, it'll certainly work on him. But I also now am aware that mages have certain abilities that prevent me from casting spells. So it probably wouldn't work anyways. Do I trust Arthias, like that he has my best interest? Like does he want to hurt me, or is he on my team? Kind of.
As far as I understand, like having like this kind of relationship with another worlder. Is this guy like another worlder, basically?
Yes. Yeah. He is now a native of the Kuningdom instead of that happens with the Ascended and the Eloquent on the other side. There, yeah.
As far as I understand, I'm pretty sure the relationship is at least somewhat mutually beneficial. It doesn't seem like something that he would be intentionally trying to sabotage or harm you just because he's powerful and you might be powerful. I think you being powerful will directly benefit him in at least some way. So you being good at what you do is more than likely playing to his cards.
All right. Well, then I'm going to look him in the eyes and say, "Oh, Arthias, are you telling me the truth about this?"
About needing to drink? Yes. If it helps, just a sip will do. And if you have any on you, you can feel free to use that instead of this.
No need. And I'm going to down one of the flagons and put my chit at the bottom of it after it's emptied.
He watches you do so with mild amusement and nods and says, "Perfect. Now we can begin. Oh, and your information about the coup, or potential coup."
Yeah, I'll tell him what I know. It's been a few sessions, but the bit that I remember is that I've been following Peter Ullman. He maybe tried to have my friend killed, so I was trying to investigate him to determine the truth about that. Turns out he and some other clergymen are planning a coup, emboldened by the bloodless coup that recently occurred in the Other Kingdom.
That's exactly it. Yep. And you give him the details about that and where these people have been tracked to. And he goes, interesting. Now, I'm sorry, I've been treating this interaction a certain way, and I'm realizing that it's inappropriate. What I just did when I asked you, what will you give me for the information of what of why I need you to drink, is first of all, that was true. You did have proxy spells cast on you, and I do feel much more comfortable now that you don't. But what I did is I created value by telling you that there was this information, and then I didn't tell you what it was worth. I said, what information will you give me in exchange for that? And then you way highballed me. It was so much more important information. And now I feel bad because I'm supposed to be sort of your mentor and telling you how to analyze these value propositions and not give away more information. And I just realized...
right there, Arthias. I highballed you for a reason. See, I know that this isn't the only piece of information that you're going to be asking me for tonight, and I'm hoping that you will be repaying me by highballing me in our next interaction.
All right. Okay, fair enough. You know what? Yes. Yeah. Let's do that, because you and I are on the same page. And the more power you gain through natural study and secret finding, the more power that I will have as well. Not in the same way. You know why I called you here. You recently discovered a very powerful secret. Two very powerful secrets, actually. You've got one empowering your exhaustive strength spell and one empowering your compel indiscretion spell. What are those secrets? I absolutely, that's some insane power, kid. Both of those are actually on a scale that no sort of mage of mine has ever discovered. Now, I know some secrets that powerful, but I've been here for 120 years, you know? And so I find it both a little heartening and deeply concerning that you have in such close proximity discovered these major secrets and started putting them in play. It's put you in the crosshairs of some very powerful people from multiple worlds. And they don't know the specific details about you, but they know that someone is drawing that power. And you're building a reputation for being able to pull information out of anyone at extremely high volumes. So people are going to start
on the
connecting
volume,
the dots.
but that's a fair point. However, I do think I can handle myself, so I've got to ask, what's this information worth to you? What do I get out of revealing these secrets?
Well, I'll tell you what. There's
what can you trade?
It's a good question. What do you want, learning or secrets?
Both.
Fair enough. What's something that you want to know about the worlds, about cosmology, about the magics? What's information that would be worth sharing this secret with me? See, now I've asked you to name your price. Now I'm in a bad situation, but we'll play it out. What are you thinking?
Okay, I need another introspective moment here. Let me think about cosmology. These tend to be powerful secrets that if I asked the right question, I could bind a powerful spell.
That's true.
So you really have two options here. We can ask questions about the lore, the magic system itself, or about something in our world that just not a lot of people know about. Like people like the Queen, like Vizier Kama. We can ask questions about those things in order to get powerful spells. He's offering cosmology probably because he has a lot of knowledge and ability in that. But to be able to think more broadly on where is the juiciest secret that we have brushed up against and not thought about is at least worth, it's worth thinking. It's worth thinking about. I don't know.
I think another thing to think about is in like cosmology and the deep stuff about the lore and the world and the realms and stuff. That's stuff that if it's a big powerful secret about that, it's not subject to change. Whereas if it's like a big political secret or something, that can come out, and if that comes out, your power is screwed, you know?
That's an
Like a
excellent
worldly secret is subject to like the volume of people who know about it is subject to change, whereas like deep lore cosmology questions are less likely to do that.
He says he knows something of like equal ability. Is it worth like trading equal ability for equal? I couldn't find a more even trade. Something you both have basically just you in the curtain for.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, what is the most outrageous secret that you know about Otherworlders in general?
Otherworlders in general.
About their motivations, about their origins. Something that's not common knowledge.
Origins and motivations. Yeah. Yeah, I've got one. I've got a powerful one. Now,
I'm halfway through the second flagon, by the way.
Yeah.
That.
He says, yeah, I've got a powerful one. But I think not a lot of mortals know, and most people in the Königdom know, but could be useful to you. Well, let's see. And he seems to be waffling about it. He says, right, okay, so I could give you one of these cosmology secrets if you give me one of your 2 secrets, preferably the bigger one. I don't know if you know exactly which one that is, but I'll know it when I hear it, because of my enhanced awareness of secrecy. Let's see. Oh, for the record, you know how you gain all your mage spells? Like, it's not like other patrons where I don't actually give you like specific spells when I think you're ready. You learn things, and through learning, like just through about academic subjects, you actually gain those new spells along like a natural progression. Well,
yeah, it's a real pain in the ass. I know.
Yeah. There is a way for us to circumvent that, because I've done so much learning. I can essentially loan you the raw element of learning that is created along that you use for your mage spells, so you won't have to go and learn everything there is to know about calculus or some bullshit to be able to, throw things into space or whatever. We can bypass that completely, and I can just give you spells in exchange for some of these secrets. I was just talking about all these proxy spells. You want a proxy spell? I could give you a proxy spell for the lesser of your 2 secrets.
Okay, just to make sure I understand, because I kind of like played it off like it's self-explanatory. This lets me cast a spell on someone, and then I can then cast spells through them at my convenience, unless they get drunk in between.
Yes, yeah.
So if I like cast a spell, like cast a proxy spell on, I'm trying to think. Yeah, okay. So I could cast a proxy spell on Fergus, and then when he goes back and meets with the people that like ordered him to do whatever he was doing, I could cast a spell through him to learn why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely. If it's
wait,
proxy
wait.
spell casting, you can use someone else as the point of origin for your spells, and the other things are stuff like proxy sight and proxy hearing, which means you can see out of their eyes or hear out of their ears. So someone has 3 spells on you: 2 to spy on you, and 1 to cast spells from you if necessary.
This is very Merigold, so that sounds like a good deal.
Question. Before you like solidly, slam into that road, are you able to get, like have that spell for you, so you're able to just like cast, those things whenever you care, but also have some sort of magical artifact to contain, hold, and execute those when necessary? So even if you are inebriated, that thing can still be like unleashed from a remote location?
That's a very in-depth question. Do you try to repeat it to Arthias?
Sure, because I know that Miles has mentioned something like that before when Merigold was Merigold present. That might have been in the Blood Temple when I wasn't there, but I would like to know.
And Arthias thinks about it for a second, and he goes, "Now this is rare. I don't know."
Ooh.
Now, hold on. So you would be casting proxies, but everyone I know who takes being a mage seriously doesn't get wasted regularly and hasn't really done this kind of experimentation. But if someone else is the point of origin for your spell, then is their body that conduit now? Does their lack of Bane aura in the blood allow for... Sheesh. I don't know, but I can have someone check.
Works.
If this conversation's gonna take at least an hour, yeah, let me send the message. And he leans back, and the blue from his eyes takes over his whole eye, and he's just sitting like this for about 90 seconds, and then he goes, "All right, I've got my best man on it. I mean, you're my best guy."
Sure. Okay.
I've been doing this for too long. You've been doing this for not long enough. You're not my best guy. But you could be. Look at these secrets. Anyways, I'm not great at schmoozing. Where were we? Yeah. So while I wait for that guy to get back, that was fast. Was he already drunk? It works.
So
Sorry, just to be clear, it works meaning
So, if you're traveling with a friend, you want to cast mage spells, you also want to be drunk. You can cast proxy spell casting on your friend ahead of time, then get drunk. Yeah, it would just have to last for a long time. Yeah. Then you could cast spells from that person as long as they're not drunk. I think they would also
this
have
is
to
a
be
great
conscious.
espionage tool if people
Question.
think I'm drunk and thus powerless, and then that would be cool.
And
how many
all of a
people
sudden,
now know
Alberth
that?
starts just.
How many people know you can cast spells while drunk using somebody else as your conduit?
Apparently,
Yeah, because you would know.
not a lot of
you would
people.
feel it. Oh, cool.
Also, proxy spellcasting would probably sort of mask that you're the apparently you busting secrets out of everyone we meet ever is like drawing some attention, and putting it through other people would probably mask who you are, you know?
You could
Like if you
frame
put
someone
it on
else
Fergus.
for.
Yeah, if you put it on Fergus and have him secret blast other people out, you know, it would take some of the shade off you.
Arthias
Do I
rubs his hands
do I
together
get the feeling
greedily.
that this is a secret itself that you can do that? Did we just use the scientific method to like discover a new secret?
Good question. So secrecy, the nature of secrecy is complicated, where like when someone first discovered germ theory, like the evidence for germ theory, was that a secret?
It's only a
according
secret when you deliberately keep it from people.
that according to Merigold's experience, that is a requirement. You don't feel a great like sense that this could enhance an ability unless you actively start bringing unless you or someone else actively starts like misleading people away from that information. If you start to lie to people and say, oh yeah, I don't know if you've heard, but proxy spell casting does not allow you to cast spells when you're drunk. If you start like a misinformation campaign, then you might be able to create a secret, but people then might test it and then just realize that it's wrong. So either way, you do not feel a great
But if I start
strength
using
behind
it
that
to frame people for casting compulsion spells, then it would become a secret.
that is probably correct. Yeah.
So I'll mention this to him. I'll say, all right, I'll give you the lesser secret for that, for the ability to cast these proxy spells, and let's keep it between you and I and see if we can make a bit of a secret out of it.
Excellent. This is
You and I guess you're best man.
perfect. This is a very lucrative business opportunity. I'm already sensing it. Let me see. And he seems to be thinking, and he starts like using his hand like he's like sifting through papers, like he's just visualizing something. He's in his mind palace or some nerd shit. And he thinks for a while and he's like, knowledge of astrology, knowledge of horsemanship. He seems to be like thinking through his pools of knowledge that he doesn't already have a spell based on. He goes, all right, that'll do. Okay, you should have it. Oh, you're drunk. You won't be able to feel it. Yeah, you would have had to cast it ahead of time. Anyway, you've got it. Congrats. Now, and then I assume you tell him the secret of how to rework Tiefstahl?
Yeah.
Sweet. He says, excellent. I even have... Ooh. In fact, as you tell him, you feel that secret get just a little less powerful as one more person knows it, because this is like a very, very well-kept secret. He goes, excellent. Yeah. Feel a little bad capitalizing on genocide, but what are you going to do? I didn't kill him.
Nor did I. It was Keath.
Sorry, what? Doesn't matter. On to the main event. What's your big secret, kid?
What's it worth?
Let's see. I could give you a secret of equal value. I've sensed the value of your secret. I've got some that are valuable because they're important, but a few people know them. And I've got some that are pretty valuable because they're pretty important, but I'm the only person who knows them. Those would probably be lower leverage, because the power would be reduced more by me telling one person. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. I know an equivalent secret. But I went first last time, so you gotta go first this time.
Fair enough. And I'll say, well, this one actually should be obvious to anyone who attended a preparatory academy like me back in whatever, but most people don't actually care about being cool or popular or whatever it is. They just care about how they're perceived as being smart, cool, popular, whatever. So it is for Otherworlders, specifically demons.
Wait!
They want people to...
Hold, shut the fuck up. Demons?
Yeah.
Don't tell me. You know a secret about demons? You know a secret this powerful about demons? Don't tell me.
Yeah,
Don't tell me under any circumstances. Okay, you need to shut up right now and listen to me, you drunk bastard. There is a secret about demons that one mage knows and uses. He uses that secret to hunt down other mages that know this shit and kill them. To hunt down anyone. It's part of an ancient agreement with the demons. Now, you just told me it has something to do with reputation. I'm gonna go ahead and not read into that. I'm gonna actively not come to any conclusions, because what you just told me is going to be the reason you die, and I can't be a part of it. I'm gonna give you another spell, because I don't want you to die, but I'm gonna ask you to lay as low as physically possible for as long as possible, and hope that this one mage who lives in the Kingdom but will come to this world to fuck your shit right up.
Whoa.
You can't tell anyone this, and you can't let the public know that you know this. Possibly stop using the secret to empower one of your spells, but if that's going to leave you defenseless and someone already knows that you know that they know, it's none of my business. But plausible deniability is now the name of the game. I'm going to give you another spell. We're not going to talk for years. Deal?
For years? Make it 2.
Yeah,
I want to survive 2.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, sure. 2 spells. You got it. He shakes her hand, and under his breath says, "What do you know? You're drunk." and
Come on, my alcohol tolerance is higher than this. I've had two glasses.
I mean, you can't sense that I've given you new spell. Whatever. You got 2 new spells. Godspeed you. And I don't know, kid. I hope you're gonna be okay. Just take care.
You sure you don't want the secret? You don't have to use it. You could potentially have it in case of emergencies.
Nope. Not interested.
Okay.
Have a nice life.
Well, I mean, that's actually good, because I was intending to not share that with anyone, because it is very powerful.
Good. No one else knows, dude. Don't tell me. And then he leaves. Promptly.
So he doesn't know that
Before he
someone
goes,
else
I
learned
can
it.
say one last thing. Do you want to know how I got the secret? That also might be something of value.
And he thinks about it for a second. At like one hand already having half opened the door out of here. Thinks about it. He says, am I gonna I can't not know it now. Yeah, tell me.
For a third spell?
No.
Oh.
Come on.
Come on.
Oh, you mean to pay me for the third spell I already gave you today? Sure, go ahead.
No, that's not what I meant, but fine.
Plan.
Turns out, you can overcome certain psychic protections, specifically demonic psychic protections, using druid spells, like symbiosis. Lets you seep into the psyche of the demon
He
itself.
thinks about it and says, "Oh, you have a friend who's symbiotically linked with a demon, and that made the spell easier to use? And so you actually pulled this secret straight from a demon, and then you killed him."
I don't think I pulled it from the demon. I think Alberth just kind of sensed it while he was, bustling around inside the demon's mind.
Someone else knows? and then you killed him, and then you killed the demon and your friend, right?
We tried. It kind of snuck away from us with one of its 3 runes still intact.
It's alive? The demon that you pulled this dangerous, world-ending information from is alive and knows who you are. How long ago did you get this secret?
A couple weeks. Hey, but the other thing is, like,
Nope.
I pulled a more massive secret out of another demon using this secret, but I didn't understand a word of it because I don't speak demon. But I was actually thinking maybe if you wanted to help me out, we could, like, go around pulling out crazy secrets from demons. If we could just understand the words that they say. Like, he was screaming stuff, and I just didn't understand any of it.
3 months. They've known that you have this secret for 3 months? Okay.
Well, I don't know if they know if I have it. I guess he kind of knows Alberth had it.
I'm gonna say this once, and then I'm gonna try so hard to forget the name of your friend that you just told me, in case I'm tortured for that kind of information later. I'm gonna tell you this once. If they know that you have that secret, one of 3 things happened. A, you got lucky. The demon somehow forgot everything about you, and now they're hunting for anyone who might know this, just like they always are. B, everyone you've met in the last 3 months has been a plant to see how far the information has traveled, so that they can plan the systemic execution of you and everyone you know. Or C, they don't care how much this information spreads because they're planning on committing an act of mass murder so large that the information can't physically have spread far enough from you. So either there's about to be some kind of pogrom in your kingdom, either everyone you know or everyone period, or a demon had some kind of a stroke and forgot.
He was pretty messed up, to be fair.
I gotta leave and not come back to this whole ass kingdom. So
yeah,
I'm finding
kind of makes
me
think I shouldn't have hinted to the second demon that I knew something, but whoops.
Ooh.
Yeah, this got worse a lot faster than it got better.
I did do that. I was intending to kill him, to be fair, but he ran away so dang fast after I tore all the secrets from him.
You tore all the secrets. You used it on... Oh. Ooh. I'd have a drink, but I don't know if I'd live. I honestly don't. It's a Bane aura thing. It's poison for you, but it might be like a different kind of poison for... Ooh. Right, I'm going back to my world and I'm not coming back. Have a blessed day. And he leaves.
Honestly, best decision anybody's made in the campaign yet.
Yeah.
In the corner, the tavern keeper is starting to pack up his things and looking over his shoulder at you.
So was he hearing the stuff that we were saying, or was he far enough away that he didn't?
He probably didn't hear all of it. He saw how this dude left, but he unless he has excellent hearing or lip reading, he did not hear it.
Well, I'm gonna sprint back to my party and let him know. Bad news bears.
You find
Who are? Thing is, a pretty decent amount of this party is someone you've met since learning this secret. That's a potential.
Good point.
plant.
I'm gonna find Alberth, I guess. What's the inheritor's name again?
Ryan?
Jessica.
Yasuka. Yeah, they're the ones.
right on. Yeah, you gather the original party in Alberth's workshop. which has become your go-to meeting place. And
I also, by the way, as soon as the meeting ended, I downed some of that
Fireheart powder?
Alaka shad powder. Yeah.
You start to explain all this, and Kama goes, wait. Let's loop another friend in about this. You guys want to go see Abulka shot?
Okay.
Yeah.
But I have my suspicions also that the option number 3, that there's a pogrom incoming, might be associated with Pater Ullman's coup that is coming up. Although I don't know if he meant like the demons are just going to come in and kill everyone. That also is an option.
Yeah. Yeah. You gather the party. Vizier Kama says, let's move it. And you guys get to the Red Temple. You climb that now familiar scaffolding that Merigold and Alberth climb once a week to talk to their old friend. And you get up to, once again, suspended in the air by a series of hooks, chains, and spears, the now gaunt-looking face of your friend Abulka Ashad. His health has visibly taken another downturn. The skin on his face clings to his facial, like his jaw and the face bones more. His hands, you have like visible veins, spider webbing across them. He looked amazing to start with, but it's not just that he looks old. He looks very much like Hercules after he jumps into the river Styx when he's reaching for Meg. You know what I'm talking about? Where it does look like someone has like plugged a reverse IV into him and has just been pumping out blood for a really long time. And indeed, that's not far from the case, as there are multiple like blood mage acolytes gathering the ichor dripping down from this dude in like a drip pan underneath. And just like the last time you guys came, Vizier Kama asks them to vacate the
well, actually, I was going to say, I don't think this is something that we should discuss in the Red Temple at all. I think that we should also all be drunk whilst we discuss it, because I don't know who else might have a proxy spell cast upon them. And I also think that we should go deep station so that there's no chance of being overheard, because I have been stricken by a healthy dose of paranoia. Right. So I'm thinking that we should threaten or cajole our way into getting Avokashad released from the Red Temple, and then we get out of there.
Yeah, having gathered around him, Avokashad hears you talking about this now, and he says, "Yeah, they might be able to. I think so. Some of these are, like soul weapons that they're like bound to the various blood mages. So I might be able to go somewhere and have it keep working. They actually have in the Red Temple. They have like sealed rooms. They're like sound sealed rooms. We can get them to lend us one of those, and they help Abulkashad down and like get him walking again with all of this stuff. He's now got like 9 different chains hanging behind him, and they all clank down the stairs like cursed slinkies as you guys like walk down, and then they're all just trailing behind him. He is shaky, but he still has the strength to walk, and you guys all get down to the bottom floor, where a number of Red Temple associates let you into one of these rooms. It's heavily implied that these rooms are for the like blood magic has the pain aspect and the pleasure aspect, but for the most part, they're very, very public about what they do in terms of pain. They don't want any of it to take place behind like closed doors or very secretive, because there's too much chance for abuse of power, and people start to get like really paranoid about that kind of thing. So they're very aggressively honest about how much pain they inflict here at the Red Temple. So these sealed rooms are largely for pleasure, and it's usually not just dinner parties. So there's actually a big like 4-poster bed that they kind of awkwardly tuck off to the side and get a bunch of chairs so that you guys can sit around in a circle. And they get all this, and most of your original party is now reconvened. Alberth, Merigold, Elway, Yasuka, Kama, and Abelka Shad sit in just this concentric ring of chairs all facing each other. And
I was thinking maybe also, since I cast Compelling Discretion on William and I didn't hear anything nasty, maybe I trust him a little bit, but I don't know. Because it was just a little baby Compelling Discretion. So maybe I would invite him, but I don't know. Maybe I would see what everyone else thinks in the original party.
I say I say bring him in.
Kama says, I mean, yeah, sorry, we're rewinding a little bit to at Alberth's workshop before we're talking about this.
Just occurred to me.
And Kama says, yeah, I definitely trust him to be a part of this conversation. I don't know if I want to bring him to the Red Temple, because it's kind of like it'd be kind of like if we brought Keath to like a populated dwarf fortress, you know? Like, not that was applicable because the whole genocide thing, but it seems gauche. I think we should leave him. We should leave him behind.
Fair enough. To be included at a later date, depending on circumstances. But
right on.
Cool. All right, well, I'm just going to give the shorthand version to everyone. I'm going to put an emphasis on option 3, because I think that if we do that, Abelka Shad might realize that he would be of more help to us, like, being healthy, than he would be strung up in the temple. More help to, like, the world in general if there's, like, an upcoming pogrom that we have to avoid. So I'm going to put like a healthy emphasis on that, but also like make sure everyone's aware of the potential danger just to us.
Yeah. You explain all of this. Everyone listens very carefully. There is a large period of surprised silence after this.
And I don't tell the secret, but I say like, I'll keep it as vague as possible, but yeah, Alberth knows, obviously.
Yes. A couple things. Yeah, your party members have very distinct reactions to this, where Yasuka goes, oh, hey, if you know a secret about demons that they don't want people to know, you need to tell me immediately, and then I'll tell 10,000 people who are part of a crusade to kill demons. Problem solved, baby. They're not going to come after you. There's 10,000 way more dangerous warriors who are determined to kill them. Those people will know. The
problem is, this secret is my only line of defense against the demon that will inevitably come after me. And it did cause the last demon that came after me to run away with its tail hard up between its legs. So it's an option to be considered for sure. Let's not be hasty.
Yeah, says Kama. Yeah. Yasuka like furrows her brow at this, but seems content to like let this one play out for now. And
by the way, we're all drunk, right? We all had like some wine or something.
Yeah. I think everyone. Let me see.
I'm assuming wine would be pretty prevalent in the Red Temple.
That's what I was thinking.
that is correct. In a chilled bucket next to the 4-chamber bed, there's some sparkling. Abelka Shad goes, yeah, I can't get drunk, but this tastes great.
You're probably an exception, to be honest.
Yeah, and plus that it's not whether the drunken like the alcohol affects you, right? It's having it present because it's the Bane aura. Kind of like if you like ate an orange, I wouldn't be able to see you. Have I not?
On a separate note, Can I?
Hold up a
can
minute. Wait a minute.
I'm not here for this conversation.
Sorry, I thought more of the cosmology stuff was on the table now. You know how it's salt for demons, and if you're like covered in salt, they can't see you, but that would be prohibitively expensive to cover yourself in rock salt? No?
For you, it's
Okay.
orchids. The breakfast
Oh, it's
fruit.
citrus. Just
Okay.
citrus chemically. So it could be a lemon. It could be, I mean, you'd have to be really covered for me to actually not be able to see you, but stuff like awareness of grace doesn't work as well around citrus. It's a big part of why pirates. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter.
Is that a secret? Does my ping go off? Like, is that like something that not many people know?
There probably is a light level of secrecy, because this isn't the best kept secret, because Bane auras are known to a number of casters, but the specific what the Bane aura is for angels, it's probably the easiest to find out, because you could ask any angel, because they're so painfully honest. This, which also means it must be so hard to keep the demon secret that it's based off of like reputation, because there's an equivalent angel secret. And for an angel to keep a secret is antithesis. Yeah, you just asked him. Yeah. So, Avocado shots. I'm sorry. I feel like I derailed it by talking about oranges and how I shouldn't eat them, and I couldn't. And you would be more able to sneak up on me if you ate an orange. Is that what we're all thinking about? I feel like it's what we're all thinking about.
It is.
Now I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Are they making you eat oranges here? Like,
oh no, that wouldn't cause you pain. It's just like they wouldn't inflict like food poisoning or like illness or something. It's pain specifically, because like harm and unwellness are different than pain. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot where we were. Oh, right. You know a secret about demons that you don't want people to know. I'm torn. So I'm going to say this right now, because I've taken oaths to say to honestly answer anything anyone's asked me, and I know the secret that you're talking about. Hey, I'm going to ask everyone in the room to not ask me. Fair enough? And Yaska goes halfway to like ask the question and goes, fair enough. Okay, for now.
I was halfway to casting Compel and Discretion just to cause a word stream to escape her mouth.
Yep. So yeah, you're drunk, you can't.
Oh, that's right. Good point.
So yeah, eventually Abakar Shad says, so I have a different theory than your patron, actually. And like, I mean, he's an Otherworlder too, and he's like specializing in knowing secrets, but I've been alive for a couple 100 years in this body, so I think there's a fair amount that I know. And one thing that I'll say about demons is this. They are... It's not all... So demons are cruel and fearful in equal measure. Their interactions with one another are almost universally spiteful and manipulative. And I think that if shit kind of hasn't hit the fan for you, it's not because this demon forgot about you, and it's not because this demon went to the big council of big demons and they decided on a big conspiracy to surround you with liars. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, but I think it's more likely that this demon was afraid that he would be in trouble for this secret being released, and he's trying to handle you on his own. That's what I think. And so, still watch out.
So what's he done to handle me on his own?
I don't know. Have you been threatened? Has anyone been spying on you?
Well, yeah, obviously.
Maybe he's still planning to make a move, or maybe he's been watching you long enough to try and find out who you're sharing secrets with. Which, admittedly, means he just watched you walk into the Red Temple with this particular group. Or you were talking about, did you mention like the proxy stuff that you like cleaned up? Yeah. He said, well, maybe there's a mage on his side and he's slow playing it to see who you've already told so that he can make a
I already
hit
think
list.
it's probably Fergus is involved with this somehow, but yeah, we'll get to that later. We'll do a Fergus.
Did you also tell him
when
about
time
the
comes.
event with Fergus in the woods?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Just want to make sure that I'm operating off of the right like pool of knowledge for Abel. And he says, well, Fergus didn't know it was you, right? He was hunting some mage, and when you cast Compel Indiscretion on him, he ran into the woods. I think if he had cast Proxy Eyes or Proxy Ears on you, he would know who he was hunting. I think it's a whole different mage, possibly working for that demon and possibly not, who's been spying on you.
Espionage. What do you think, Kama?
Kama thinks about it for a while and says, I think we should investigate some of the people who you work closely with at the university. You're surrounded by mages there. I certainly wouldn't put it past any of them to be unscrupulous enough to spy on you for a demon in exchange for money or power or whatever. But one thing's for sure, you cannot, under any circumstances, have any dealings with warlocks. Because if this demon has any sworn warlocks, that's who you got to look out for. If this demon decided to handle it on their own, they are sending their warlocks to kill you. So watch out for warlocks.
How might I identify a warlock?
And Kama thinks about it for a second, and she says, actually, I've got something for that. And that's where we'll call it for today.
That's awesome.
Will our warlock party member Grayson be discovered? Will we uncover an elaborate many-person conspiracy to silence Merigold once and for all? Or has this demon perhaps gone rogue, trying to handle this problem himself? Find out next time. Actually, probably not next time. Find out over the course of this entire campaign, starting next time. Thank you for coming to watch the Fiction Game and our Axis of Instinct campaign. We hope to see you next time. Goodbye.